Chambers of the Black Hand is 40 foot underground. It's the first level out of 2. The second level is 65 feet, which is 12 metres and 18 metres, I believe, thereabouts, but we're still backward in Lightning Ridge. We're in footage. The first level today has got over 500 carvings and paintings done by Ron by himself. There's 2,500 cubic metres of dirt being removed on this level just for his art, for his hobby.
With meeting tourists up the top here while I was working, you know, and the 3 Mile being one of the older fields, I decided that I'd attempt to dig steps down to the Opal level, because I thought, well, you know, tourism seems to be starting up a lot more then, you know. So what I did, I threw my hat on the floor and I sort of worked out where I would get to the bottom of the mine, you know, without dropping into a big hole. And so that's what I did. And my friend bet me $100 that I wouldn't get down to the bottom, you know. So I think that $100 sort of gave the incentive to keep digging for 6 months. So which is how long it took me to get to the bottom. By the time I'd gone down a few feet, I thought, you know, have I done the right, you know, am I a bit crazy here, like? But as I say, that $100 just kept me the incentive going. So the problem is with a blind hole, of course, you've got no circulation, so it's pretty uncomfortable all the way, you know. But I mean, you don't die, you suss it out, you know. Plenty of water, and that's really how I worked then, you know.
You've got to be a miner or one of his peers to appreciate what he's done. There's no dynamite up there. There's 30 footers concrete. Just putting the staircase in us, no one else would be. Well, we're not English, so we're not that silly to even try and do it, but that is awesome. That is a huge feat.
What happened then, I'd sort of meet people at the top and I'd say, well, you know, they'd say, well, can we come down and have a look? And that was it, straight down the mine to the Opal level. And all unofficially, of course, then, because, I mean, it was a bit easier in the old days, although, as I say, the mine department was still careful to make sure there were no accidents around the fields, of course. So, but that's what I did. I sort of sneakily brought people down. The stone you'd cut, they'd say, well, you know, how much do you want for that? And $20, $10, whatever. And it was a good little turnover, you know, and that's how it was born, really, you know. And then one day I was in the side and I thought, well, I'll carve a little welcome on the wall, because I'm pretty handy, you know, with a brush and stuff. And so I put a little hand and a ribbon and I put welcome on the wall, and that was the mine was born, if you like. I used to take the people down the steps at the bottom, and down the bottom of the mine I dug more steps which come up here, just behind me. And I'd actually go down the mine, back up into this room, up these steps and into this last room here. And that's how I did my little cutting demonstration in those days. This was a blind room then, of course, and I thought, well, what I'll do now, because I knew there was a hole to the surface up there, then I'd sort of, I thought, well, I'll get my compass out, point in the direction I'm going, and I started digging the next drive, you see, to the next hole to the surface. As I walk through here, it's just about exactly my height, because, of course, any extra dirt you have to move, it has to go in the wheelbarrow, of course. So I also apologise to any visitors we have that, as I say, anybody who's a couple of inches taller than I am, I apologise for it, and that's the way it is. But we have plenty of headroom in the rooms, of course, as you can see. I got to this room, I got through for a few more rooms back into that direction, but then I decided I needed to get another route down to the bottom level. So what I did then, I started to dig from here and go down into the bottom level at a slant, you see. So then it allowed the people so they could actually walk from here and actually walk down the little ramp into the bottom level and see the mining and all the mining techniques and things they have down there. So they have the complete package with having the mine down below and the art gallery up here, so to speak.
Every shovelful of dirt he has removed by himself by hand for his art. It is his passion. This is not a paid job. There's no Opal this level. There's no reward this level. This was done for his passion, his art.
But it's perfect medium to actually work with. It's such beautiful soft sandstone. I do get you know, the odd bits with natural faults can fall off, of course, but apart from that, mostly it's generally pretty good. The more work I've done over the years, I've got to recognise the dirt, you know, stop the faults dropping to bits before I go any further. I'll knock the faults out first and then do it. But on saying that, I've just spent 3 months excavating just a part of the mine down there, and I was doing a 9-foot sculpt of the Thinker, Rodan the Thinker, and sadly a big fault came through and the heads fell off that. So it's an occupational hazard, if you like. And you can see the faulty material here, actually. Look, see this part here, and that's where the natural fault comes down. And even with the head falling off, it's not a waste of time. It's still something to look at for the visitors, like. So what happens here, look, is you can see here I've sort of made a vain attempt to try to salvage it by putting stakes into the wall and pieces of Rio concrete and stuff like that. And the sandstone still being too soft to hold it, it just didn't work, and that's as far as I've got. So, like I say, I'm having to rethink all this. Some of the dirt again is the sandstone is ideal for carving, but some of it's not, which is why I've got some low relief stuff here, and I've got an actual painting on this wall, as you can see, and even this is not crash hot stuff to paint. And then as I came through, less and less faults in the sandstone, and so I then got to the stage where I could start doing some proper carving, you know, this is the result of some of that, you know. And I decided I would carry on with this room because there's still plenty of subject matter to go from. So, you know, we got into Tutankhamun and stuff like that. And then as I came through this way, I decided I'd do a sarcophagus with a body in it. And so then this is from the solid piece of sand. This is the sandstone as it stood here, and I've simply dug out around it. It's just things which I think, my own theme, it's not exactly as you'd see an old Egyptian tomb, I suppose, but it was just little things I put on the walls, which was, you know, took my fancy and nice and colourful. And it's nice to paint now and again as well, to get it, you know, to get away from shifting dirt all the time and sort of carving and stuff, you know. But so I really get the best of both worlds, and you know, the enjoyment out of both of them, really. As I came this way, as you know, through the excavation sort of thing, you can see again, the paintings is where the ground's not good. You've got dents and things all in the walls, and that's what I did then. The sandstone gets good again, although I had to do a lot of patching up in places, but it's good enough to carve. So, and by this time, I was getting the ideas into me that I wanted something big and spectacular. So I thought, well, what I'll do now, I'm going to, you know, I got onto this big sort of jaguar cougar thing here. And then I thought, well, what I'm going to do now is to do 4 big Buddhas. There's actually 3, not 4, because by the time I got to that, I was fed up with doing Buddhas, and I thought I'd do something different. So that's what I did round the other side there. So by the time I'd had enough, I decided I'd do the Jesus on the cross. Like I say, it's not because I'm religious, it's simply because they're just nice sort of, nice subjects, if you like, you know what I mean?
Was doing one with the eagle, Indian doing an eagle dance around the back with Jesus on the cross and Mary, and they did that one with the eagle. And then I says, you got to have a totem pole. He said, okay. So away he went doing the totem pole.
Quite often people will, you know, sort of say something or suggest different things, and I'll say, oh well, you know, next time you come I'll try and do it. And when they come for the second visit here and see that it has been done, they're sort of all real chuffed to bits about it, that at least we've listened, sort of thing, you know. Things for the kids, things for the adults, anything, you know. When I got to here, I thought, well, I'll start a big dinosaur for the kids. So this is hence this wall here. And once I thought dinosaur kids, then the next thing I thought, well, was Harry Potter at the time was coming in, and so I did a golem and a few things, you know. Then Pirates of the Caribbean came in and things like that. And then as the visitors came to the mine, they'd say, well, you haven't got Dora the Explorer, you haven't got Mickey Mouse.
The kids will say to them, oh, there's no Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck. And next day he'll be here carving Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. If it's something the kids will say, and he's always doing stuff for the kids.
It's tremendous feedback for me, because all I have to do then is look up any images and then come and, you know, sort of put them on the wall, if you like. And that's how this sort of film come kids' room eventuated, like. So, and then as I came through this way, I thought, well, another dinosaur wouldn't go amiss, because it's nice, easy war, nice big stuff here, you know. And then the next thing came to mind was animals. So then, again, excavating the rooms, and as I came through, I sort of thought, well, leopards, meerkats, everybody likes meerkats. And as I came through here, as you can see, you know, just sort of carve a tree, a leopard in a hole and stuff, and anything was nice and colourful, and which is sort of doable in the sandstone. I mean, in some cases, you know, I was a bit snookered when I did the elephant, for instance, and this tusk fell off, or half of it did, so that tusk's a bit shorter, but you get that in real life anyway, so I got away with that, you know. And then other things, you know, this sort of thing. The problem with things like, which is low light, is for the kids, of course. Kids being kids, they jump all over them and that, so we have to do a bit of maintenance quite regularly, come down with a paintbrush and redo stuff and that.
This little dog here was a dog about that size when he was carving it. And he got down to here and the head broke off because the sandstone had it was full of faults. So he just kept carving, now he's got a pup. Yeah. And the paintings, you look at some of these eyes on here. The dogs that when he did these, if you see the eyes on some of these animals, they're so real. And this was he dug this little room out for the coffee room. And he does this one over here was a self-portrait with a jackhammer.
As you can see, as I go, I sort of try and keep the wall as straight as I can, and just work on a compass bearing that way.
2,500 cubic metres here. You know, like everyone's shoveled out and jackhammered out, and there's no one helps him. We don't help him. We give him a lot of advice, but we don't help him.
This one was a memorial to his late wife. She loved the ocean. She loved the ocean, and he put a plaque up to her. And he put little Nemo in the mouth of the shark, but one day he come here and he was over there with a knife. Half an hour he carved that blue fish and painted it in half an hour. He's getting so good at it, and he's very particular. This lot here with the gargoyles, he'd gone to Ireland for a visit, to visit some friends, and he came back from Ireland and he must have seen all these gargoyles. And then when Michael died, he carved him.
I decided I'd get a little bit ambitious with this one, because it's all right doing things like animals and stuff, because you can make little mistakes, but I thought, well, what I'd do now, I'd do David. And as you can see, when you start getting onto fantastic sort of sculptors like David, then you've got to get the scale right. I was a bit concerned about the big crack coming down here, because you just don't know if the arm's going to drop off and that, but luckily it's held together. But sometimes in a situation like this, I've actually drilled in the side here, and I put stakes of wood in, and that sort of held this fault together here. By the time I'd finished, I was real pleased with it, of course, you know, because it did come out looking like the original. But this is sort of Angel Gabriel, and once I'd done one angel, then I decided a few more angels wouldn't go amiss, so it's sort of an angel room, if you like. I decided again another little theme, so I started on the superheroes, and I got ambitious. I thought, well, I'm going to do Superman on the roof for starters. And this was quite an undertaking, because as you can imagine, you know, you're sort of working up here, you know, trying to carve this out of the sort of roof bit. And by the time I'd finished, you know, a couple of hours at a time, you can imagine the neck ache and that, you know. But I'm glad I did it, because it's stuck on there and it's never going to shift, and it's good sandstone as well, which is a blessing, because I had no problems with it. Simply carve it, paint it, and that's how it ended up.
So he'll dig new tunnels all the time, and he'll do a bit Slim Dusty, the politicians. This is the little elephant that the baby was born quite a few years ago, and that's the elephant that crushed that lady in Sydney against the fence. Just an accident, bad accident, but that's when he was born. He put him there with that little ball. That's the first little elephant born. But he's good with the politicians, isn't he?
The next idea came to me was to do the sort of politicians in caricature, a lot of them like. And so we got on to your little Johnny and Bob Hawke, Rudd, Julia and all stuff, you know. But they do tend to get battered a little bit, as you can see. Julia's nose has took a bit of a hammering, but that's, I mean, I think that's allowed with politicians. I think it's everybody's right, but...
He's always got a humour. Well, that's Thatcher, you wouldn't know, that's the English Prime Minister. And that's Peter Garrett, a tree hugger. And that's Bob Brown, Greenie. Because when Julia was originally up here where Paul Keating was, and then she got in and he got out. So what he put her down there with a knife at his throat, and then she got elected with Bob Brown, so he put a rope around her neck, controlling her. So he's always coming up with this, but so many Bob Hawke and yeah, Howard.
It's all little insignificant things what maybe the pollies don't think about, but normal people do. And then hopefully end up looking a bit like Julia there. And I can get rid of that one then and do, looks like Michael Jackson, so I'll do. But I've already got him, so I'll probably change that into something else, you know what I mean, yeah.
And that one's in here, the miners, he did that all by just himself. No, there was no drawings, nothing. He just started carving it and thinking, see the opal up in the roof there? He's painted it in. But that's how the miners would be looking at it. You get a bit of colour, and I tell you what, it's exciting. You'd be up there looking, oh, you know, the colour's sticking out of the face. And it's like winning the lottery. It's a buzz, I tell you what.
This particular room actually, the shark was very lucky to survive, because up in the sandstone here, I actually found little bits of opal. You can see the line coming down here, look. And actually a bit of seam opal appeared, so it's just as well, it didn't get any better, otherwise I would have forgot the shark and carried on with the seam opal. So, but as it turned out, it disappeared like mostly opal does. Once I'd got this part, I thought, well, I'll start thinking big again. And as you can see, I did the dragon here, but it's just in the process of being refurbish this, simply because the kids hang on the things here, and I have to come back and redo it, and that, which is what I'm just doing at the moment. So that's an occupational hazard, I say, it happens. I've come in when the tiger's head's been on the floor, actually, you know, and probably kids have been mucking about on it, but as I say, it's an occupational hazard, and it's no problem to come back, stick another head on, and you know, there's always ways of salvaging this sandstone. That's the nice part about it.
That's the nose of that little, like...
Oh, yeah. The
little bloody Star Wars, like, whatever it is.
Okay.
How many weeks I've been meaning to give him that?
How do you find working on the wall as a media? Is it a bit different to paper on it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's a bit difficult, you know, because that's the reason. You can see the difference here, look, is that's why that's carved there, and it's really nice sandstone. And as you follow the roof across, look, this has all changed into a rubbishy, you know, mixed up dirt, yeah. So what I've done with this, actually, I've sort of cleaned it all off and scraped it down and put a bit of polyfiller in to give me a surface, if you like.
Something decent to work on.
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't that picture copyright protected?
It is, but like I say, if we like that, because if anybody comes along and says, look, you know, that's my picture and stuff like that, and it goes into the paper and we get loads and loads of publicity, you see. And then when that's happened, you see, I just come in and paint over it and do something else. We've got it all worked out anyway.
What Ron's done here, there's nothing else like it. You can go to all the museums, with the art galleries in Sydney, Melbourne, Canberra, overseas, and you'll see one or two statues. But you come here and you see everything.
Well, what's your thought on it?
Oh, I think it's just amazing. You're lost for words. You just can't believe that someone's life enriches everyone else's life. You know what they do.
I believe in fate, you know. I think all these things happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's for a reason. Trevor turned up. I was just, you know, sort of. I didn't want to be down here. I was bringing a few people down casually. You know what I mean? And it got to the stage where I'd come down the stairs and I'd be up and down, you know, with the odd people turning up there. And at that time, you know, I didn't charge any money. I just came and sold. I just sold a bit of Opal on the side, you know, and which was a great sort of outlet for getting rid of miners to get rid of Opal. Yeah. And that's sort of how it worked out. At that time, as I say, I was thinking, oh well, you know, I don't want to be doing this all the time. It was just I want to get mining and that. And then I say Trevor turned up and. It was perfect timing, in fact, because...
he thought of himself, hello, here's a sap.
Yeah. Ron has been doing these things on the footy all the way down. And he does them all by hand. He gets a printout off the computer and then he'll draw them on the wall by hand and then finish them off like that.
My name's Felix. I've been mining in Lightning Ridge since 1968. I'm nearly a local. I don't know, 10, 15 years to go. I was born in Switzerland, so it takes a bit longer. Roughly 100 million years ago, these inland lakes dried out. And we just started to drift away from Asia. That's how far back I'm going. And over the millions and millions of years, the sandstone started to build up over the top. And at the same time, water would have leached out the silica out of the sandstone. And millions and millions of years later, it would have eventually penetrated the clay as near pure silica jelly and started to fill in some of the crevices and cracks and that. And over another further millions and millions of years, it solidified. And eventually it sort of formed Opal.
What would happen is the old timers used to get down these holes and you'd be sitting here digging away and you'd find a bit of red on black and you go back down to the pub where the digger's rest was and you show the mates, look at this. You had put it in a tobacco tin, you always had a tobacco tin in your hand, in your pocket, and you take it down and show your mates down the pub and they say, where'd you get that? And you say, up there at the Black Hand on the 3 Mile. And you'd come back next morning with a hangover and you'd be pegged out everywhere. There'd be blokes sinking these shafts everywhere, all round about you. And it was like it's a buzz, it is, because somebody's found some good opal.
2 blokes would have been digging to get to the 45-foot level here. 2 blokes would have worked 6 days a week, 3 weeks to get down here. And pretty hard going. In early 70s, the first mechanical drill came to Lightning Ridge. And he drilled you a 3-foot hole. And we didn't think he's going to get through the shin cracker up top. So we all went and had a look and watched him, and he started drilling. And we thought all of a sudden he'll have no teeth left on that bucket. But all of a sudden he bit, and he went straight through that shin cracker. Last time I sank a hole by hand, yeah.
Australian opal is the best quality opal in the world, but Lightning Ridge is the best quality. It is the red on black.
The reason for us being world famous is because it's the only place in the world where the colour sits naturally on the black.
Look at that. If you put a diamond next to that or a sapphire next to that, no. You don't even look at the sapphire of the diamond.
So there's the red on black. And that's a black knobby, genuine red on black. So that's what they look like when you... That's only 1 carat of red on black. And that's $1,000 worth there. Only that tiny little bit of colour.
I got a knobby here. I dug that out a few years ago. As you can see, that came out of really soft dirt. And it came out as clean as that. And of course, if that would have been all colour, I'll be in the Bahamas. Still.
My daughter was 10-year-old. 10-year-old. How old are you? 5. Well, you've got a bit to go. We all wish we were 5. She was 10-year-old and she found a piece out at the dam where we washed the dirt. Some miners were washing over from where I washed dirt. And she found a bit and I got it cut and polished for her. And I sold it for her. she got a necklace, a little chip off the side of it, and she got a necklace worth $1,000. And the other piece, I sold it for $15,000 cash. And she was sitting there with all this money in her hand, a 10-year-old. And then she wanted a motorbike, so we bought her a quad runner, and our brother had to sit on the back. It was tough.
When we washed the dirt, we got to back the trucks up a ramp. And a lot of our trucks got no brakes or hardly any brakes. So when you back up fairly steep ramp, you need your mate up there with a chock. And it's either a lump of wood. Two of my mates had a lump of sandstone. So they used that for about a year. And it's not uncommon when you wash dirt that you can get a lump of sandstone showing a little bit of pots through it. They had one of them, no problem. About a year later, one of the blokes took it home into town and he kept his shed door open for another year. And one day he walked past with a hacksaw blade and he had a scratch. And being sandstone and the little seam of opal running through, you can feel it really well because sandstone's very soft. So he's there scratching and he got stronger and stronger and stronger. So he took it into town to one of the finest cutters we had there, Neil Lacey. And Neil finished up getting a lump of opal out of the centre of it about like that. And he sliced the top of it and cut 4 major stones off the top. And the boys sold them for $220,000. And underneath was a gem about that size, and they sold it a year later in America for $365,000 US. That's about 15 years ago, that would have been $500,000. Yeah. So it goes back, I worked with some of the old timers, and they always said, if it hasn't got your name on it, you're not gonna find it.
Oh, you hear that? There. Oh. There, you hear a little bit there? It's gritty. Oh, there's one. I'll get that out for you. Look at that. There you go. So look, that's what they look like when you hit them and break them. You wouldn't even know what it was in there, in that face. So it's just luck. You just keep digging. You might see a little bit of pot shining like that, but there's a fairly big piece like that. So this bit, if you shine the torch on the side, it shows you how big it is inside. It just reflects the light through it. So that gives you an idea how big that piece is. But that's the best colour like that.
Never find a knobby which has got colour on the centre and no indication on the outside?
Oh yes, yes.
Does happen.
Oh yes, it happens. And then you snip them and all of a sudden you wish you wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you get a bit of that. What they did, they had the 2 candles stuck in the wall and then they lay on the side like that and they gouge, okay? And then they move the candles, roll over, keep gouging. They will kick the dirt back with their feet till they're nearly stowed in. Then they will crawl back, get a little short-handled shovel like that, and they'll be kneeling in the dirt and flick the dirt back to the shaft. And then they got to pull it up again. So, yeah, very exciting, isn't it? Yeah, they used to laugh all the time. They had a lot of fun. Yeah.
More exciting when the candles go out.
I used to tell one lot, I said, all the old miners carried a lemon in their pocket. So they could bite in it every so often to wipe the silly grin off their face. I got a bone of a plesiosaurus at home, about that big, okay? I'm very happy, or was very happy about it. And I come out here, about 5 or 6 weeks ago, go up in the showroom, and when you get up there, have a look. Bloody Ron Canlon, that's a bloke who does all the carving. Of one of the miners, he bought a bone that size of a prehistoric wombat. So I'm not even talking about mine anymore. He just stuffed me show, he did, yeah.
When the weight gets on top of the props, they creak and groan, we say they talk to you. And they're making a noise like that, and then all of a sudden one will blow up because the pressure's on them, the roof's coming down, and they go bang like that, and you go, your makes the hair stand in the back of your head, I tell you. But then I got out of that claim, and 5 weeks later the whole lot fell all the way to the surface. That was 60-foot of roof come right down, and you walk, go drive around, and you get out there, and you see the ground there 6 foot down. The whole lot had gone, the whole area. Yeah, and there was gum trees, massive gum trees growing on these air, and they just went plonk like that. Amazing thing to see. And they got cracks in the ground that a person could fall down. Then you have to fill the whole lot in.
There he is. It may puts mine to shame.
What's this?
Oh, I got the bone at home. I'm very proud of it. Then Ron comes with this bloody thing, and I haven't showed mine around since.
$300.
Yeah.
You see the top of the ground, there's not a great hullabaloo on top of the ground. You look like nobody lives here. Then you walk down to this magnificent colour and this beautiful shop and carvings and coffee lounge, McDonald's and bloody cake.
I think the Buddhas were just beautiful, and the horses and all of the Egyptian art is just spectacular. The horse was just spectacular. Wonderful, wonderful. I would suggest that anyone that is anywhere near this place come see this. It is wonderful.
Oh, it's fantastic, isn't it? You wouldn't expect coming down here to seeing something like this. We just expect to see a mine shaft, but he's done a great job. Absolutely fantastic.
He's so talented, and yeah, just what he's done is just amazing. You just wouldn't expect something as grand as this, would you?
No, you can see he loves what he does.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring my family back here. I've got young kids, ranging in age from sort of 3 to 10, so they'd be fascinated with some of the things which are here.
I know the dental students, when they come back, they always love this experience. I try to warn them, you know, make sure you bring your camera, and they always go, oh, it's just so amazing. It's totally different, because they live on the Gold Coast, so this is a totally different experience for them.
Everybody is just so sweet and so wonderful and so informative too, so that makes it even better.
Of course, it's all three-dimensional. That's the amazing thing. Just not flat paintings. They're actually carved out of the sandstone, and then sometimes painted, sometimes not painted. It's just unbelievable.
There's nothing to compare with this. It's just beautiful. It's just magnificent. So you just can't beat it.
We'd recommend it to anyone because we wouldn't imagine it'd be too much like this anywhere else to see. So
I looked at the steps and it was a long way down, and Felix said, "It's okay, mate, we've got a lift." So I got a bit of a bung knee, and it was a lot easier to go down in the lift, and they were, you know, quite appreciated that.
It's actually something I didn't really expect. I was just thinking to come out here and check out some mines, but to see all the beautiful sculptures and paintings is really quite a nice surprise.
It's astonishing what he's managed to accomplish in this rather cramped conditions. I think you know, the variety of carvings that he's put together is absolutely incredible. You know, it's obviously a passion that he's pretty dedicated to pursuing, and by crikey, it's an incredible feat that he's achieved. So yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Utterly brilliant. I don't know how any one person can just imagine so many different things to build and make and carve and paint. It's just amazing.
When I first started this and thought, well, I'll scratch a little thing on the wall, I mean, who would have thought it would have ended up with as much caves as I've got now, and as many as carvings and paintings as I've got now. It's just, you know, it's mind-boggling, really. Even to me now, I can't believe how it's panned out, if you like, but yeah.
I believe it's a national treasure. It's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful.
Felix made it happen today.
Yeah,
downstairs when we went into the mine, but it was overall, it was all very, very good, but it just topped it off. Felix topped it off.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, didn't you?
And he's not a bad fisherman either. He's told me a few stories.
Don't tell lies either, might stretch the truth.
No, he was really good. Even the trip on the bus on the way in.
Well, there you go.
We only spoke about fishing.
That's it, yeah.
I'm fascinated with the idea that you can cut a bit more out and change it again. I mean, normally with a statue, that's it. What you see is what you get. But if he decides he's tired of it, boom, that goes, and we have another one, which I think is just so interesting. And the other thing I love is this colour. It's just Australia to me.
Australia should be proud, and Lightning Ridge should be even prouder.
There's not many men who would sink a shaft with the hope of finding a stone. There's not many men who are so daft as to work many hours on their own, with little reward for our beautiful gem, the black opal, the stone of renown, especially black opal, not many of them in this unforgiving ground. So when you see the colour and you see the fire and the heartbreak and strife that's behind it, just think of the men whose hopes never tire and the long hours of hard work to find it.
Lightning Ridge, black opal capital of the world and home to an Australian national treasure, the Chambers of the Black Hand. Aside from the uniqueness of this attraction, the Chambers of the Black Hand offers visitors a unique shopping event in the only underground opal shop. Here you'll see the most breathtaking display of opal. Trevor, Ron and the team display their own mined stock at discount prices in this most relaxed, casual and spacious environment. You'll get honest and valuable advice from the experienced miners and guides who offer a shopping experience you'll never forget.
So interesting, and the other thing I love is this colour. It's just Australia to me.
Australia should be proud, and Lightning Ridge should be even prouder.
The Chambers of the Black Hand, another jewel which lies beneath the ground.